I've had the opportunity now to work with hundreds of retail traders who have the goal to gain consistency, to gain funding, all that type of stuff. And the same pattern shows up every single time when clients and students join my 12-week challenge or when they join one-on-one performance coaching. The most common pattern I see towards traders, the biggest challenge they face, the biggest thing that holds them back from consistent profits, holds them back from funding, and ultimately holds them back from the success in their trading is their reaction to losing. And a lot of traders can't actually deal with losses, and traders can't deal with the emotional reaction to losing. They don't have the tools, they don't have the understanding, they don't have the education to understand how to manage losing in trading, which is a bit of a challenge because losing is such a big part of trading. Losing is part of the journey as a trader, and losing is literally part of the game as a trader. You can't avoid losses. So what I thought would be a brilliant idea was to put together a mini series on YouTube called The Psychology of Losing. And I wanted to bring forward my theories, my teachings, and my tools on how a trader should go about thinking about losing, their perspective towards losing, how to manage losing, and ultimately how to use losing to their advantage to become successful traders. Now, I have about 6 years of personal trading experience. I've got multiple years of training in psychology and human behavior. I've got multiple years as a performance coach, and now I've started the education business. So I get to see things from a lot of different perspectives. I've worked with retail education companies, I've worked with prop firms. And what I'm going to do in this particular mini-series over the next few videos is I'm going to give you the education, the teaching, and the tools every single retail trader, I believe every single retail trader needs to be able to deal with losses and to be able to ultimately achieve consistency and success in the markets. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Bailouni, and like I've mentioned just before, I'm the founder of Master Your Trading Mindset, which is an education and performance coaching business. And we help traders overcome the psychological challenges and the psychological patterns that hold them back from consistency and funding. And we ultimately help traders break through those patterns and limiting beliefs so they can get through and get consistency and get funding in their trading. Now, the first thing I would love to discuss in today's video in this multiple part mini-series is talking about why losing is so painful. And this was a recent discovery for me in my own performance coaching and education business journey. And this was something that recently came up to my awareness, and it's something I consistently teach now because I think it's such a profound principle. What I came to realize was that if you think about it, a lot of traders risk 1% of capital balance, maybe a little bit less, sometimes 0.5%, sometimes even less than that. It's very rare that traders go more than 2-3%. So the actual dollar amount or percentage amount a trader loses relative to their overall account balance, relative to their overall portfolio, isn't actually that much. The dollar amount lost or the percentage in the grand scheme of things compared to the larger capital base they have there, their account balance, it's not that much. So I took a step back and I had a bit of a curiosity of why is losing so painful for some traders, and why is losing painful in some trades but it's not painful in others? And in this particular video, I'm going to show you what I've found in answering that question, and a very practical thing you can do to ensure that losing isn't painful for you. Now, what I've found that leads to very painful losses for traders is traders, before they get into a position, in their mind are creating fantasies about what they believe that position is going to get them. And they're looking at, say for example, euro-dollar to sell off. And they're selling, and they're looking at euro-dollar and they're saying, I'm going to go short euro-dollar because this position is going to drop. I'm going to make money on that. This is the position that's going to give me my funding account. This is the position that's going to bank me, 10% for the month. This is the position that's going to get me the social status in the community I'm in to be perceived as a great trader. And what this trader is doing is they're in their mind creating all these fantasies about what they perceive this position to give them. And then what they do in their mind is they project these fantasies onto the market, And now they believe they're entitled to those things, and they then sell euro dollar because they believe they're going to get all those things. Now, what actually happens is if they go in short to euro dollar with those expectations, unrealistic expectations, because first and foremost, nobody actually knows what's going to happen next in the market. So if they go into that position with unrealistic expectations, and that position is ultimately a loss, and it may be based on a probability model, that trader isn't only going to lose the amount they risked and the dollar amount, but they're also going to lose all those fantasies they created in their head as well. They not only lose 1%, they not only lose the dollar amount that is 1% of their account, but they also in their mind perceive themselves moving away from the funding account. They also perceive themselves in their mind not getting that 10% fantasy they had for the month. And in their mind, they perceive they're not getting that social recognition they could have got. So that trader loses all the fantasies, all the very pleasurable fantasies they created in their mind, as well as that position. And that's the painful part. It's the loss of our fantasies and unrealistic expectations that we're projecting onto the market that leads to very painful losses. Because you'll probably find that some positions you take aren't painful because you take a trade based on it being a process-based decision. This position aligns with my trading plan. I'm going to take it because I know there's an edge there. There's a difference there because you're not imposing any fantasies or unrealistic expectations. You've got balanced expectations because you know that the market's aligning with your edge, and if you take that 100, even 1,000 times, you're going to end up profitable. That's a process-based decision that's realistic. The fantasy projecting and the unrealistic expectations of the market of the outcome is not realistic because nobody knows what's going to happen next. So you have to be aware of these fantasies and unrealistic expectations that you create in your mind before you get into a position, because the loss of those is going to be very, very painful as a trader. And that's the root cause of painful losses in the market. Now, the good news here is that we have full control over the expectations we impose on the market. We don't have control over what the market's going to do, but we have full control over our perceptions, our decisions, and our actions. How we perceive the market, the expectations we impose on the market, all those types of things. So what I encourage traders to do, and this is one of the first things I teach in my 12-week challenge, it's one of the first things I teach whenever I do performance coaching with clients, is that you have to go into a position with balanced, realistic expectations. And those expectations should be, I've created a trading plan based on an edge I found in the market. And I know that if I execute on this edge over 100, if not 1,000 trades, I'm going to end up profitable because I know I have an edge there. But you see how that's not focused on that next particular individual trade. It's focused on the larger sample space there. You're giving yourself permission for your edge to play out. So to lower the sting of losses significantly, just doing this can lower them by 70, 80%, the pain. To be able to do that, don't set those fantasies around realistic expectations of the market. Take a position because it aligns with your trading plan, and in your mind, think longer term and recognize that if I do this, not on this individual trade, but on 100 trades, 1,000 trades, I'm going to end up profitable. And it's just that shift in expectations before you get into a position which will significantly help with the pain of whatever the outcome may be, win or loss. Now, another thing this brings up is that you have to have a clear edge. You have to have a clearly defined edge. So what I encourage traders to do if they don't already have a clearly defined edge is to go and dedicate their time to finding one and getting one. And you want to go off and create a process-based trading plan with no discretion as a foundation. Build up that process-based trading plan. And you want to find your entries, you want to find your management, you want to find your risk and your rules there. You want to make it so process-based that there's no discretion required, and that's what you want to trade. And then you want to go into the market trading that with realistic expectations. You may add a little bit of discretion on that later down the track, but you can't expect yourself to make good discretionary decisions if you don't already have that process-based foundation. So my message for today is that the pain of losses comes from the loss of unrealistic expectations. The great news here is that you can have full control of your expectations. It's just about going in there with a slight tweak to your expectations. Make process-based decisions based on a clearly defined edge and a trading plan. Think over hundreds, if not thousands of trades, not the one individual trade, and focus on the process, and don't set outcome-based expectations of what you think's going to happen, what you think you're going to get from the market. because those are unrealistic fantasies that have no basis in the market. They're only created in our mind. Nobody knows what's going to happen next in the market. You want to stick to just executing on your processes and executing on an edge. Now, in the next video, we're going to go even deeper on this. I'm going to share some insights on your subconscious mind and how this impacts losing and your perception of losing. And we're going to continue to explore the education on the psychology of losing and give you more tools and tips and tricks. So make sure you check out the next video.